The hate is real, and this time it's coming straight from the top. The WNBA's leadership, led by Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, has once again found a way to turn a moment of celebration into a national embarrassment. What started as a lighthearted comment from Caitlin Clark, the very player who's carried this league into the mainstream, turned into yet another example of how out of touch the WNBA's administration has become. The Indiana Fever are rewriting their own history, defying expectations, shocking the league, and uniting fans behind them in ways women's basketball has never seen before. And yet somehow, the headline isn't their success. It's a $200 fine over a 4-word Instagram comment. Refs couldn't stop us. That's it. That's what triggered the league. It's not just the absurdity of the fine that has people shaking their heads. It's what it represents. Caitlin Clark, the player whose energy, performance, and global appeal have filled arenas and boosted TV ratings beyond imagination, is now being punished for doing what fans have been doing all season, calling out the obvious. The officiating in the WNBA has been a running joke, and Clark's comment was nothing more than a tongue-in-cheek acknowledgement of what everyone was already thinking. But instead of embracing the authenticity that made Clark the face of women's sports, the WNBA decided to police her personality. The timing makes it even worse. The Fever, playing without their superstar since July due to injury, have stormed into the postseason for the first time in nearly a decade. They shocked the Las Vegas Aces in Game 1 of the semifinals, a moment that should have been celebrated across every WNBA platform as a turning point for the sport. Yet, rather than capitalizing on this underdog triumph, Engelbert's office decided to focus on an Instagram comment, as if scrolling through players' social media accounts for violations was somehow more important than addressing the actual problems plaguing the league. Think about that for a second. A player who isn't even on the floor, still recovering from an injury, manages to ignite headlines because she dared to joke online. Clark's $200 fine isn't about money. It's about control. It's the league's way of saying, stay in line. But what they don't realize is that this attempt to silence her only amplifies the growing frustration among players, coaches, and fans. The league has ignored vicious fouls, hard hits, and blatant targeting all season long. Yet when Clark types a harmless joke, suddenly the WNBA finds its sense of discipline. Sophie Cunningham, never one to bite her tongue, called it exactly what it was: hypocrisy. She joked that the league must have a social media surveillance team whose only job is to search for the word refs and issue fines. The irony writes itself. A league that preaches empowerment and visibility for women is now punishing its most visible woman for being too vocal. Cunningham even joked about starting a GoFundMe to pay off Clark's fine, a sarcastic jab that perfectly captured how ridiculous the situation had become. The truth is, the WNBA's priorities are completely backward.
Instead of addressing officiating inconsistencies that have ruined games and frustrated players, the league has chosen to silence anyone who speaks out.
The message couldn't be clearer. Protect the referees, not the integrity of the game. But the fans aren't buying it anymore. They've seen the missed calls. They've seen the bias. They've watched Clark and others get shoved, tripped, and elbowed with little to no consequence. And now, when the player who's brought millions of new eyes to the sport says something relatable, she's fined for it. Clark's reaction to the punishment was pure class. Instead of lashing out, she laughed. She posted the screenshot of her offense and simply wrote, "Got fined $200 for this, LOL." That's leadership. That's composure. She managed to make the league look petty without even trying. Her humor turned the fine into a symbol of resistance, not defiance for its own sake, but for the principle of standing up to a broken system. Fans rallied behind her immediately, flooding social media with support and outrage. But while the fine may seem like a minor incident, the implications run deep. It shows exactly how the WNBA views its players, not as voices, but as assets to be managed. Clark has been nothing short of a cultural phenomenon, revitalizing a league that had long struggled for relevance. Her jerseys sell out in minutes. Her games break attendance records. TV ratings have skyrocketed since she entered the league. And yet, instead of celebrating her individuality, the WNBA has chosen to police her speech. That's not leadership. That's fear. Meanwhile, the officiating issue continues to rot the sport from within. Coaches like Becky Hammon and Stephanie White have openly called it out. Even Las Vegas, the team benefiting from questionable whistles, has admitted the officiating lacks consistency and professionalism. But instead of accountability for referees, we get fines for players. Instead of reforms, we get silence. It's no wonder fans are frustrated. They can see what's happening, even if the league pretends not to. This fine isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about what kind of league the WNBA wants to be. Does it want to be an authentic, transparent organization that encourages players to speak their minds? Or does it want to be a top-down corporate brand terrified of criticism? Because right now it feels like the latter. And the cost of that insecurity is enormous. The Fever's playoff run should have been the biggest story of the year, a feel-good narrative about resilience, teamwork, and leadership. Instead, it's been overshadowed by pettiness. The irony is almost poetic. The same league that thrives off Clark's popularity, that markets her face on every highlight reel, has now turned her into an example, not of greatness, but of disobedience. And yet the fans know the truth. They see a player who refuses to be silenced, a player who brings passion, humor, and energy to every moment on and off the court. Caitlin Clark didn't hurt the WNBA, she exposed it. She showed that beneath the slogans and press releases, the league still struggles to handle real authenticity. And what does Engelbert think this accomplishes? Fining Clark $200 doesn't make the league stronger. It makes it smaller. It tells players that honesty is dangerous, that individuality will be punished, and that image matters more than integrity. In an era where sports thrive on personality and storytelling, the WNBA has chosen to mute its biggest storyteller. That's not just bad optics, it's bad business. If the WNBA truly wants to grow, it needs to start by embracing players like Clark, not controlling them. The fans aren't here for corporate statements and forced smiles. They're here for authenticity, for passion, for rivalries, for truth. And Clark embodies all of that. She's not afraid to show emotion, to celebrate her teammates, or to call out what's wrong. That's what great athletes do. That's what icons are made of. Instead of silencing her, the league should be learning from her. They should be asking how to harness that energy, how to connect with fans the way she does, how to make every game feel like a moment. But as long as Engelbert's office is more interested in fines than fixes, the WNBA will keep stumbling over its own success. Caitlin Clark's $200 fine will go down as one of the most symbolic moments of her young career. Not because of the money, but because of what it revealed. It showed that one player's voice could rattle an entire system. It showed that leadership isn't about compliance, but courage. And it showed that sometimes the simplest words, "refs couldn't stop us," can say everything about where the real problem lies. Because here's the truth. The WNBA doesn't have a Caitlin Clark problem. It has a leadership problem. And until that changes, the league will keep sabotaging itself, one petty fine at a time. What do you think about the WNBA's decision to fine Caitlin Clark for speaking her mind? Was it justified, or did the league completely miss the point? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another update on the drama unfolding in women's basketball.